Hello everyone, it's Tracy here. Today I am going to start by blending some distress inks on a white piece of cardstock. I'm going to start with the Fossilized Amber, which is like a golden yellow color. You could also use mustard seed or squeezed lemonade for this, but I really like the golden darker yellow for the Fossilized Amber, and I'm just going to blend this on a third of my cardstock, and then I'll move on to the Ripe Persimmon, which is like a brighter orangey color, and I'm adding that to the middle. I'm still leaving space for one more color, and you can see that this is really not very blended. You can still see kind of the circular marks from the blending foam, but I promise it will smooth out. I'm going to show you a little trick that I like to use when blending distress inks. So I'm just going to keep blending that, and that's really the key, is just to keep blending it. And then the third color is the Fired Brick, which is like a darker red color. It's definitely different than the Barn Door. The Barn Door is a lot more bright. This one's kind of a more muted red. I'm just adding that to the bottom, and then I'm going to keep blending that. I really want to add lots of color to this, so I'm just adding more and more ink all around. And then once I get that color in as much as I want, I'm going to go back in and take my Ripe Persimmon, and then I'm just going to blend this color kind of between the two colors. So I'm still going to go over the Ripe Persimmon, but I'm also going to slightly overlap that Fired Brick, and that's what's really going to blend both of these colors together and make it look like one kind of continuous ombre look. Before I go in with my Fossilized Amber though, I'm just cleaning up my craft sheet because I don't want any of that red or orange on my yellow blending foam. So then I'm just adding that distress ink, and you can see how much color that really adds to it, and it's just blending both of those colors together really well. And I'll just keep adding that until I feel like there's enough. And this color will smooth out even more as it dries, so it'll look like one continuous, kind of like a sky background, which is what I want mine to be. I kind of want it to look like a sunset. Alright, so then I'm going to take the Stuck On You stamp set from Fawn, and I'm going to stamp some of those cactuses. So I'm going to start with the larger, the tall one with the two, kind of looks like arms coming off from it. I'll just add that to my stamp block. And then because I want this to look like a sunset, I'm not going to stamp these in color. I'm going to stamp them in black ink. So I'm using the Tuxedo Black Memento ink. And I'm just going to stamp this right over my distress ink. And then I'll go ahead and I'm going to stamp the smaller round cactus. And then I'm also going to stamp two of these smaller ones right next to each one. So just stamp one on the left side and then one on the right side. And then I'm also going to stamp my sentiment. It says Howdy with that Tuxedo Black Memento ink. And then I set this piece aside to dry just so that all of the inks on there could dry. So then I am taking this embossing folder. This is from We Are Memory Keepers, and it's one of the new next level embossing folders. And this one's called Gemstone. And the only way I found that works to run this through my Cuttlebug is to take my A plate, then a rubber embossing mat, the embossing folder, and then a B plate. Any other combination I tried, I couldn't get it to work, so I'm not really sure if they're not meant to go through the Cuttlebug or if there's a different sandwich pattern that I'm just missing. So if you do know, let me know, but this worked for me. You can see how well that embossed it. And I just think these are the coolest embossing folders ever, just because there's so many different dimensions to them. So I'm going to go ahead and add my distress ink piece to that. So I'll just add some adhesive with my ATG gun. And then I'm going to stick that down kind of towards the bottom. There's a little white space still left on the bottom. And then I'm going to add some May Arts Natural Twine to this. And I want it to be kind of a more masculine looking card, so I'm not going to tie it in a bow. I'm just going to tie like a knot on the front. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut 2 pieces of this string a little bit longer than my cardstock. And then I'm going to take some Scotch tape and I'm just going to tape each of those ends on the back. Whenever I tie bows or anything, I just find that this is the easiest way to tie them, so I don't need anybody else to like hold the bow down or anything like that for me. So I'm just making sure that it's even on that side, and then I'll tape it on the back. And then I cut a smaller piece, and I'm going to tie this right above my sentiment. Just going to tie 1 knot, and then I'm going to tie a second knot just to make sure that it is secure on there. And then I'll trim the ends off. Alright, so then I can go ahead and add that piece to my white A2 size card base. I'm just adding a little bit more adhesive with my ATG gun. Alright, so the last step on my card, I'm just going to add a few wood veneer stars. These are from Studio Calico, and I'm adding those with some multi-medium matte. And I just want a few of them. I don't want them to overtake the card or anything like that. And then I am going to add a little bit of sparkle. I'm using the Diamond Stickles. This is by far my favorite color stickles. I just like adding the sparkle to everything, and my bottle is actually almost gone. I've used it so much. And then that is my finished card for today. So thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not already, and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and I will see you guys back here next time. Bye!